Sooner Nation, Thunder Nation, we are back. This is the Just Oklahoma Sports Podcast, otherwise known as the Just Okay Sports Podcast, because we talk Oklahoma sports and it's just okay, both. So we are back doing this thing again. If you were with us last week, you may notice that we are in the exact same clothing because we're all going to be out of town. We're trying to get you more content pumped out, so we've recorded these back to back. Last week talking about SEC Media Days, getting all that. Now kind of moving into our prediction format of things. So don't freak out if you're watching this thinking I watched this pod. Nope, it's a new one. It's a different one. We just, we like again, that's how we do things around here.
We,
It's
we don't
just
have a
okay.
wardrobe. We don't have a wardrobe
Yeah.
department
We
yet.
don't we
So
don't have a yeah, we don't have that in the budget yet, just yet. So feel free to send us a budget though. Send us some money and we'll
yeah, we're,
we'll
we're
get
willing to
some
take
cool.
sponsors.
Oh, absolutely. All day long.
Jordan
Send
Brand hit
us.
us up.
Let's go. That'd be awesome. So, anyway, so we'll forego all the formalities of trying to pretend like we're talking about something else and new in that way. So, let's hop to it, Jared. You have had lots of question marks about this team as we move into which you tend to be the least committal of like me and Troy and you when we're all together doing these pods. I feel like Troy tends to be sunshine committed. I tend to be dark committed. And then you kind of just come in and go, none of us know. And we're all like, we know we don't know. That's the point. But you will never like kind of just,
Hey, all I'm saying is when it came to the Thunder last season,
yeah, it's true. And hey, all I'm saying is when it came to the Sooners last season, I
yeah,
nailed that one as well.
yeah,
So the Reininger boys are on a tear right now. That's all there is. That's
yeah.
that's that's what you could say about it. So eventually we can break down kind of more specific groups and maybe talk through some players and stuff. But just kind of wanted to pull back and just talk to big picture, right? Because this team
hmm
obviously, if we go back to last season, just to kind of recap all that, we know this team had a lot of injury issues. We
hmm
understand that this program did a bad hire in the offensive coordinator and it never got going. And that is really ultimately what held this team back last year in a major way. Whereas the defense looked extremely as good as it's looked, what, in 15 years probably last season in several categories, top 10. And I think they kind of finished up in the teens. If you kind of try to do an overall, you do an S&P plus, those kinds of things, right there in that 15 to 18 range overall in defense. And kept them in many games. Matter of fact, won you the Auburn game, the defense did, right? So moving ahead to this year, the question mark is Arbuckle everything that everybody thinks he is? Is John Mateer everything that he is? The offensive line better? Will the running backs be better? What are they going to do with the replacements at wide receiver? Now, all that comes together, there's a lot to think on, right? Like there's a lot to pontificate about and dream about and rose-colored glasses, all the things that way, but it all could really go bad as well. So, breaking all that down, looking at it, let's start here. Out of everything on this team, from just a team perspective, kind of where is your confidence meter? So, in other words, what unit out of this entire team do you have the most confidence in as we walk into this 2025 season, Jared?
I think for me, it's the defensive line.
Okay.
Um, Extremely deep. They've got some guys that have already shown what they can do. Jane Jackson, for instance, playing hurt last year, it still was a formidable force. R. Mason Thomas, David Stone has shown that he has potential. Like I said last year, like there were times last season that he was unblockable. Now it wasn't every
Mm-hmm.
time, but there was times where he was getting double teamed and still showed those flashes of why he was a 5 star, right? Um, so and you just have, like I said, you go down the list, like there's plenty of guys, PJ, uh, you have, Taylor Wine is again a guy that we've heard a lot of noise about.
Right.
Okoye, you know, Grayson Halton. I mean, there's just guys down this list where it's like I don't. They give me the confidence again because like I said in our last pod that we just recorded, is you're gonna need depth in the SEC. Like you're gonna get run at, you're gonna get mauled. You can't run the same four guys out on the D line or three guys or whatever formation. You can't. You're gonna have to have that depth just to survive. And I think this unit is one that has it, and they have some guys that are, I think, have the potential to be. Let me put it this way: I'll mark it down now, and everybody can clip this or whatever. I think that Jaden Jackson will be an All American by the time he leaves Oklahoma.
Well, he was a freshman All American already,
Yeah,
so
but I mean, I think
technically,
he'll be. I think he'll be like a consensus, just All American.
wow. Okay.
Um, I think he's really, really good. I mean, like I said, the fact he won freshman All American and was hurt for a good portion of the season, kind of crazy. So I think if he gets healthy and he comes back and he keeps developing, like he's added a little bit of weight, um, I think that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And you put him next to David Stone, and that's that. If David Stone can even touch his potential that we think he has, that's a scary combination.
Right.
But yeah, the defensive line is, I mean, the defensive unit as a whole is where I have a lot more confidence, but that D line is, I think, going to be a nasty unit this year.
Right. Which think about that statement for just a second before I go on my little rant. How long has it been that we could go into a season with just full confidence that the D line was an absolute strength? I mean, you just said the unit on this team that you are the most confident is the defensive line. Like, how loud were we screaming for that when Grinch was in charge, when Mike was in charge, like when Tebow was in charge? It was like, just please, God, find some defensive tackles that can play football.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to go back to Brent Venables' original tenure at OU as a D coordinator, maybe. I mean,
Yeah,
like I'm thinking, like the Tommy Harris days and those sorts of days, maybe even
yeah,
further back. I mean, that's the last time that I felt like, um, you really had guys that were just monsters. And that's what, 10, 15 years ago? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
so, you
It's
know,
it's been a minute. So I asked you first because I was almost certain that's what you would say. And as I was trying to think about it on my end of things, obviously the defense is where my mind goes first because that's the unit that we know the most about, right? And so I almost went linebacker because of very similar things. I feel like that linebacker room has just got enough bodies to throw out there that you feel really good about that could be it. But I decided to go the offense to try to just build some hope up even more for people going into this season. So I'm actually going to go with running back of all things that I could go with. But I do think that Jaden Ott's transfer in is huge. And, obviously a lot of people very high on him. I thought what Xavier Robinson showed last year when he got his opportunities was really good. I think what Taylor Tatum showed last year was really good. He just has to learn how to hold on to the football. And I got to believe that a whole offseason with thinking about his fumbling issues, getting a little stronger, getting a little comfortable, more settled down at the speed and the physicality of college football, he's going to correct that. And then we still had a point in the time last season where Javante Barnes was healthy and he looked really, really good until he
yeah,
wasn't
what game
healthy
was that?
anymore.
Yeah, what game was that where he just went off? I don't even remember
Oh
what game that
man.
was.
Did we play Tulane? Is that who it was?
No, I think it was an SEC school because it was later in the year, I believe.
Yeah, maybe.
But I just remember that he ended up having like 150 yards or something. I mean,
Yeah.
he just was going crazy.
He looked great. And
So
at SEC Media Days, R. Mason Thomas said him. They were like, who's a guy that most people aren't talking about that they're going? And he was like, Vontae. He's like, everybody's just kind of dismissed him to the side, but like, dude, he's really good and he's healthy again. So, I mean, that says something that one of the defensive guys would name an offensive guy as the guy that's going to stand out that nobody's talking about.
yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what happens with because I mean, like the rotation's gonna be like I mean, you're not wrong. The rotation's gonna be wild. I mean, you're talking about Javante Barnes, who did last season show some real promise when he got to play, and he might be third or fourth string on this team. You know,
Right. Right. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I think that group really has a chance to show out. And I really think that again, they're just deep enough. And those are all guys. We have seen Taylor Tatum be capable. We have seen Xavier Robinson be capable. We have seen Vontae Barnes be capable, right? And then you still got Torrey Blaylock over there hanging out, that we've heard good reports on, and there's possibility with him. And then Jade Knott has played the college running back, role at a really high level. So granted, Javante Barnes hadn't stayed healthy in what feels like 20 years. Um, Xavier Robinson is still really young and probably isn't the biggest game breaker of all time, but um, he's definitely got the potential, to be great. And so forth, so on. Again, Tatum just needs to learn how to not fumble the football, and I think you're going to be in really good shape. And so I think from a confidence standpoint, I'm really confident that that group is going to play really, really well together this season.
Yeah.
Um, so now let's flip to the negative end of it all. What unit on this team would you say you have the least confidence in? What's the one that you are just looking at right now going, that is going to, that, like, we're just in trouble?
Okay, let me preface mine by saying it's really because there's a ton of potential, but not a ton has been proven. And I'm going to say the wide receiver room.
Ah, okay.
I mean, Deion Burks has shown that he can be really, really, really good. But obviously, coming back from an injury, you don't know how that's going to go coming back to play an SEC schedule, right? And then you have a lot of guys that have that just like they look like they have a lot of potential, but they haven't done anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of question marks. I mean, I think, we've talked about this ad nauseum at this point of, last year was not a good showcase for them with injuries and just offensive scheme, really more than anything. I would even argue, I made this argument last year. I thought last year, I thought the wide receiver room was good enough that you should have got more wins, even if it was depleted, but you just didn't put anybody in position to succeed. There was just no effort. You had, oh, what, I can't, why is his name slipping my mind? Short guy. Um,
Gavin?
no, it wasn't
Oh,
Gavin. He was
from last Burks or Jacob
not,
Jordan or
no, either way, it's like you would have a 5'8" guy trying to block a D end,
oh yeah,
and
uh KJ Daniels maybe or yeah.
well,
Anyways, one of those guys.
regardless, I mean, last year you just didn't put anybody in position to succeed where you were having guys that, it's like, okay, if you put a 6'3" guy that weighs 200 pounds, and at least he can go chip block a DN, or put a reasonable block on a linebacker or something like that. But you put a
Right.
5'8" guy that weighs 160 pounds or 70 pounds, him chip blocking a DN might as well be shooting a water gun at him. So I think there's a lot more potential there this year, as long as everybody stays healthy. But there's nobody's proven anything. Deion Burks is the only guy that's really shown me anything. And even him, he's coming off of an injury. You just don't know. Receiver's just one of those positions where it's like guys either recover really well or
Right.
they lose quite a bit of a step, and that's his thing is he's a speedster guy.
Yeah.
He's not a huge guy. He's not going to go up and, he's not 6'3" or 4" or whatever, I mean, he's not, those sorts of injuries can really affect you. So, um, yeah, I think they could be like that's what's crazy thing about them. That's why I have least confidence. They could be the best unit on the field or they could be the worst.
Right.
Like there's not a way to tell for us right now.
Yeah. No, I think that's a solid pick. As I was trying to think through that, my mind first went to tight end. Um, is where I went, and but I mean, because again, same thing. We really don't know. You got a linebacker that's now a tight end. You got a guy whose knee has basically been getting rehab for 3 years, and you got two transfer guys. You have no idea. The reason I'm not going to say tight end though is I just feel like while tight end can be an incredible weapon for a team, it's not a necessary position. you can scheme offense without a tight end and still be successful. So while I may not be confident in that room, I also don't think you have to have it to be really successful. I think it just accents and makes it better. So instead of saying tight end, I am going to go with the corners. I need to see Gentry Williams healthy, right? I need to see, while Eli Bowen, I think is going to be an absolute superstar at corner. He's short and he showed a couple times last year. Um, he could be in the exact right position and then not find the football. I mean, he had a couple balls that went right over the top of him in the hands of the receiver, not because he didn't do his job per se. He just didn't finish the rep, right? And so we saw some corners getting torched last year. Gentry's got to be healthy. And then it sounds like their other guy that they really want to run with is Jacoby Johnson. And I need to see him not fall down in coverage and give up big plays like he did in the Missouri game. So he looks like $1 million as a corner, but I need to see him actually play the position, and not just give me hope of, hey, here's a really good athlete and we think he'll be great at corner. I need to see him actually play corner. And I need to see him actually do it really, really at a high level.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I mean, again, that's this whole team, right? Like there's a lot of potential, but guys got to show up. Like I said, Eli Bowen, I agree with you. Like I think that the kid's going to be a superstar if he can learn how to find the ball. If he can learn how to find the ball, it's like good lord, right?
Yeah,
Like there was so many times last year that's like you're in the perfect position and just like you said couldn't find it. And if that's a skill that he can learn, watch out.
right.
Um but yeah, Gentry needs to get better. I mean, the secondary as a whole I feel like is kind of that way. I also want to see, I also want to see one thing we haven't talked about, especially on the defense side of the ball, is you lost Stutzman and you lost Bowman. You
Right.
lost two of your strongest leaders by far. Who's going to fill that void? Right? Like I think Kip is kind of doing that to some degree. But I would like to see somebody like RSJ or somebody like that really step up in a a secondary role to kind of be a leader. So it's just going to be who's going to take the reins on that.
That's a good call. No, that's a great point. It will be interesting to see who steps up in that role. And it sounds like some guys are definitely trying to, but that you just never know until the bullets are flying. Who people, I think you can be really confident that John Mateer is a good vocal, emotional leader when he needs to be. But we got to see it when the bullets are flying before we know for sure. So that's that. So that is your least confident side. Now let's talk players. Let's
Okay.
zoom in a little bit and start with the good news first. Who do you think is going to be the standout player for this team that
I,
nobody really is and trending towards and talking about?
oh, the boys training we're talking about adds a layer to it.
Or you could just say, I guess let's say this. We're just not going to put John Mateer on there. How about that?
Okay.
We're not going to say John Mateer because he's the easy
Well, because
standout.
the other easy one would be Jaden Jackson, right?
Yep.
So I guess I'm going to say David Stone. Um,
Mm,
Now I know he came as a 5 star. He's still got a lot of hype around him, but seeing the pictures of him, that dude's a specimen now.
yep.
He's added on a lot of weight,
Looks
and
fantastic.
and I think he just last year, I just think he was really raw. Like I said, there was times where you saw him and he was just unblockable, right? Like
Right.
he was just, I mean, getting double teamed and still just, I mean, there was literally, remember what it was a game later in the season, but it's like he had two offensive linemen who were not bad offensive linemen, and he's dragging them with him to the quarterback. I mean,
Yep.
he's he can be a monster if he can align those like that technique and just that motor and all those things all together. I think he could be as good or better than Jaden Jackson. I think he has a higher ceiling than Jaden Jackson, as much as I praise Jaden Jackson.
Yep.
Um, so I'm gonna say him, but I mean, there's a lot of guys on the defense that I could, I another one be Kip Lewis, right? Like I've been
Yep.
buying Kip stocks since he got to OU.
Yep.
And I think that this year, I guess that's gonna be. I'm gonna give you two answers, unfortunately. Kip, because I think Kip is going to have an amazing year.
Yeah.
Last year, he was still kind of playing that secondary role to Stutzman. And this year, I think he's going to be that guy in the linebacker room, um, giving him a little bit more, like I said, that leadership role. I think he's already trying to step into that and just kind of being the shot caller, right, of the linebackers and the defense. I think he's going to be that quarterback. And I think if you give him a good offseason, he kind of had to do that some last year,
Yeah.
towards the end of the year. But if you give him another offseason to really fine tune that and really get smart with the football, I think he's going to be another guy that's going to really light it up. So,
That's great. That's a great one. Um, I probably should have said let's do one for each side of the ball. So I'll come back to you for an offensive player after
okay.
I go on all this whole thing. You stole mine in Kip Lewis, so I got to go somewhere else. Kip was my guy that I thought was going to go crazy, so I'll pick somebody else. How about this one? I think a guy that we have forgotten and that we have thrown out to the trash heap, and for whatever reason and have just grown cold to, that I think is going to have a major, major role in this team this year if he's healthy, is Peyton Bowen. I think
Yep.
we forget how good his freshman year was, how we were begging for him to see more time on the field, right? Um, and then when the season was over last year, we all were kind of like, man, he took a massive step backwards. What happened? And that's when we find out he's had turf toe the whole year and he just hadn't been able to get over it. And from everything I'm hearing, he's healthy and good to go 100%. And if that's the case, him and RSJ back there together, man, buckle up, get your popcorn. Um, I think he's just going to be fantastic on the defensive side. And then to go to the offensive side, a name for you before you give yours. I've already kind of mentioned it a little bit. But I think the guy that is really going to elevate this offense to the next level is Jaden Ott. Um, the way they are talking about this guy is going to be big, and we've talked about on our pod, and kind of stolen a little bit from Teddy and Gabe, but we just have not had that guy that can find open space and then
Hmm.
make somebody miss to take that run to the next level. Or we've not had a guy that can just see the field in such a way since Kennedy Brooks that can find the hole that's not the actual design of the play, right? Like can see that, okay, we're supposed to be running, off the right tackle, but man, they're slanting the whole defense towards the right tackle. If I cut this back right now, right, there's a lane there. Like we
Right.
just have not had that guy in years right now. And I think Jay Knott is a guy that can do all those things. And I think he is going to help the run game so much because of all of it. And really hoping it will trickle down to some other guys behind him as well. But I think Jay Knott is my standout, you know, can't miss guy on the offense right now.
Yeah. Somebody that I just to touch back on defense, another guy that I'm just excited to see. I don't want to pick him as my best player, but Boganowski. I just want to see somebody get decleated by Boganowski.
Yeah.
That dude just brings the pain. So
He
anyway,
is a hammer. There's no doubt.
yeah, I think give him a year or two more, and he could be a guy that I'm talking about. Um, man, the offense side of the ball is so tough. Okay, I'm gonna go. I got my pick. I'm gonna say Eddie Pierre Louis, EPL.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
I know there's a little bit of question mark on who's gonna be starting, but if he gets in there, like I said, last year offense line wasn't good. Super raw guy, super athletic. Came in there, and I was like I told you, I was confused as to why he wasn't playing more. It's like I understand that he's a raw guy. He may not know his assignments that well, but it's like, man, when he puts his hands on somebody, it's a block.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that he's going to be a guy that's going to shock some people. I've been buying his stock since he got to OU, and I think this year, I think he's going to crack that lineup, and I think that he's going to at least get some playing time. And I think when he does, you're going to see some people on their backs. So,
Nice.
and I think that that's kind of an interesting thing is that I think the O line we feel a little bit more confident about. There's a lot of guys that are getting healthy. You've got guys
Yeah.
like Fasusi that have come in. Some of those guys like we talked about last year, you have guys like EPL and some others that were just super raw prospects that give them a year under Beanbo and they could start being really, really good. So I think EPL is going to be a guy that's going to come in and make some noise on the offensive line.
Yep.
But we'll see how that plays out. But I mean, there's I think it's going to be a lot. We talked about this, and I don't think we talked about this enough, but we talked about the offensive scheme last year, and me and you talked about this a little bit on the phone earlier. The offensive line wasn't helped out either. Like the offensive line was not given a chance to succeed at all either.
Correct.
They weren't going to be good anyway, but they were just not put in a position to succeed. So they just, again, it's like you have a bad offensive line that you're not putting into place to succeed. I think this year you're going to have somebody that's going to at least try to make them at least get in a position to succeed, which is going to make them better. So I think the offensive line is going to be a lot better this year. I don't know if I'm ready to say elite. I've been too scared. How many times have we said we thought the offensive line was going to be really good basically every year since 2017? And they haven't been. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I know. I
yeah.
know. I've been the guy, right? And
Hmm.
now I'm having to eat some crow because I'm on the other end of it. Because I'm the guy that's been saying Bill might need to go for what, 3 years?
Longer than
Um,
that, yeah.
but he went out and he grabbed some guys that can play finally. He really went out and got elite dudes and he's coaching them up and they want to be coached. Um, man, I think Foje and Fasusi's future are so bright. I think EPL's got a chance to have a bright future um, with this team. And those guys play well. This team's going really, really, really far. Any combination of those guys play well. This team could go really, really far.
It
Um,
feels like the first time in for a while that we actually have options, right? Like
yeah,
there's actually some depth there. I
yep,
mean, there's been plenty of seasons in the last I don't even know how many years where it's like, oh, if this guy goes down on the O line, we're just screwed.
right. And that's
Um,
what it was last year, right?
yeah.
Was once your injury bug hit, I mean, you brought in Hatchett last year to be the stopgap of if Everett's not healthy, you've got a center. And then he goes out like in the first week that he arrived and he retires. Um, and he's gone. I mean, now you had nobody to fill that center position. And Josh Bates just could not figure it out, even getting thrown into the fire. And it was
Well,
like that everywhere.
and it's just like we talked about last year. This goes for more than the O line, but just the rotation didn't make sense. Like Spencer Brown playing, like I don't know how that dude's a D1 offensive lineman, to be honest. Besides, he's just the size of it.
Yeah.
I mean, he was getting destroyed by bad teams.
Yeah, he was.
And that's why, like I said, I maybe my frustration and maybe where I would come to your side a little bit with Bill Bedenbaugh if it's his decision. Why are you not putting somebody out there that's got potential? Why are you not putting EPL in that position? At least EPL is trying to put somebody on their back. It looked like Spencer Brown was trying to lay out red carpet for them. Um, and I just, I think there's a lot more potential on this team. I think if they can get that rotation right, it's going to look a lot better.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, a lot hinges at that position. Now, the good thing is, I think while Jackson Arnold was a very capable runner, I think Mateer is a better runner.
Yeah.
And just experience alone, he's going to see some things better than Jackson could ever see them. And I think that alone elevates the offense. If that's
I
all
agree.
Mateer brought to us was better running and quicker decision making of what a defense is trying to do, the offense would be better this year, just on
Yeah.
that by itself. But I also think he can sling it, and I think they brought in some guys, so we'll see. So, man, that's good stuff. Makes me feel better already. You've just
Yeah.
you're just making me feel like the championship run is coming
Yeah.
already.
I don't know if I'm going to go championship yet, but we'll see. I mean, I think the one thing, I know this is a little early, we're going to be doing this because we get closer to the season. The one thing I want to see from this team, where I'll start buying stock, is if you go against a team like Temple or some of the lesser teams you start your schedule off with. I mean, you don't have a lot of time. You're going to be going into Michigan.
Right.
Um, But if some of those lesser teams, even if you lost to Michigan, right? Even if you lost, but you went out and you just dominated Temple and you
Yep.
really put your foot on their throat and said we're just the better team, I would start buying some stock.
Yep.
Um, so I mean, obviously everybody's going to look at that Michigan game and say that's the test. While I agree, I always don't put as much weight in those early season tests. That's what second game of the year.
Yeah.
Um, it's like there's still a lot of things. You're still a lot of kinks you're working out. You're still not, you know, fully developed into the team you're gonna be. So and it's at Michigan too, so that doesn't help you.
No, 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 no. It's at home.
Oh, is it at home? Okay,
It
I thought it
is
was
at
at
home.
Michigan.
Nope. It's
Okay.
at home.
Okay, well that helps. But yeah, I mean either way, like you're facing a really, really good team early in the season. Who knows what's gonna happen, right?
Right.
So if you can really go out and dominate those guys, those lesser teams, then I'll feel a lot better because you didn't do that last year. You didn't, Temple was a game that you like the scoreboard really didn't indicate. It was like that was way more of a dogfight than it should have been.
Yep. Yep.
So anyway, but yeah, I'm hopeful. So I'll be able to give a better answer when we're in game 4 or 5 of the season.
Yeah.
I know it's a cop out, but yeah, by game 4, I'd say by week 4, I'll be able to say if I'm buying stock in this team really making noise in the SEC or not.
Yeah, that's fair. I think there's some things you can look for in those early games, but I would say the first three games are going to be very telling of what this team is about and what they're capable of and what they can do. But um, we'll see,
Yeah, I mean,
as we move forward.
yeah, I mean, just to run through it real quick before we wrap up. Start out with Illinois State, should be a breeze.
Yep.
Then you have Michigan at home. You're at Temple. Hopefully, I get to go to that game. Uh, Auburn, at home,
Yep.
and Kent State before you go into
Mm,
Texas. So
right.
by Kent State, you should be a 4-1 team. There should be
Yep.
no question that you're a four, or well, actually, would it be even
Five.
5-1? 5-1.
Should be five
No,
and
one,
oh
two,
going into
three,
Texas.
four. No, 4-1. Sorry,
Which game are you picking us to lose?
Michigan. I'm not picking us to lose it. I'm just saying if you dropped Michigan, you should be at least
Oh,
a 4-1 team.
yeah. 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 Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you should be going to Texas as a 4-1 team, but by then you should have a good idea of who's going to stand out, what position groups. Like I said, are the receivers good? Are the corners going to be able to step up? Who the leaders are going to be. So those questions we just asked are going to be answered by those games. And like I said, last year, I'm just looking at this page, just wanted to highlight this. Guess what we were ranked in passing yards last year?
Oh, 98th.
Optimistic, 119th. 76th in rushing yards. We had almost as many rushing yards as we did passing yards.
Yeah.
100th in points for, and only 29th in points against. Like that tells you that right there. Those two points for and points against tells you everything you need to know.
Yep. Yep. And so if the defense can hold up its end of the bargain again, that's the thing, man. As much as we have all these question marks, it doesn't have to change much. I mean, if the offense changes just this much, the
Just, I
team is
mean, it's,
wildly more successful this year.
I can think of 2 or 3 games last season that OU should have won if their offense had I mean, the offense just would either not be able to produce anything or leave the defense, oh, we turned the ball over on the 15-yard line, you know,
Yeah.
um, and just left them in a horrible, horrible position. So,
Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted reading text messages. But yes, I mean, the offense, man, just you have to play complementary,
well, you
and
just can't leave your defense in a short field position time after time after
time after
time.
time, and you can't leave them out there for 60. I mean, you guys always laugh at me about time of possession, but yeah, when your defense is playing the whole game because your offense is just three and out, three and out, three and out, or turnover, three and out, turnover, three and out, you can't hold up. And especially in the SEC, you cannot hold up doing that. And from a mental perspective, you get down 10 points, the defense should have hey, we're going to get the ball back and our offense is going to get us in this thing. And instead it was like, guys, we're down 10 and the offense can't do anything. which said so much about this team last year because the defense continued to play its guts out week
Hmm.
after week after week, no matter how far down they were, no matter how far up they were, they just kept going. So yeah, I mean, we don't need a ton. Eliminate some turnovers and just be able to drive the ball down the field some. Like just step on the field with us having confidence we can get a few first downs. We might not score, but we can get a few first downs. And we did not have that last year at all.
Well, I mean, you look at some of even the better teams they played, like Tennessee and some of the others. It's like the defense did a really good job of containing them, and the offense would go out and go three and out
Yep.
and barely gain any yards.
I mean, I'm at the
So
Tennessee game going, if this offense can figure it out, we have a chance to win this game. And that was in the
it's
fourth quarter.
it's kind of funny. It's like the opposite of what I was watching. Baker went on Jason Kelsey
Yeah.
and Travis Kelsey's podcast,
Yes.
and they were talking about the Texas Tech game, and he was like, "Defense, just
Yeah.
give us one." And it was like the opposite. It was like the defense is doing their job, but it's like we just need the offense
Yeah,
one time to have a
just
sustained drive.
give us one sustained drive and a touchdown and we got a chance, man. Like we got a chance. Like
Yeah,
and I just don't see this defense dropping a ton. I mean, there is a real world where this defense is better.
yeah.
There's a real world where this defense is better than last year. So if the offense can just find something, it it's going to be a good
Well, look,
season.
yeah, like look, like I'm a Danny Stutzman fan. I'm a Billy Bowman fan, but I think athletically they were limited compared to what we have on the roster.
Yeah, I wouldn't say as much so with Billy other than like his height. Um, but I mean, they're two
Even
guys.
Billy, even Billy last year kind of had some off games. That's going to happen in the secondary, I'm sure too. But I mean, not to say he played a fantastic season, but you know what I mean. Like I feel like there's just more raw, like there's more athletic talent on this team this year than there was last year. Is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah,
Even when you lose those two guys.
right. Not that the guys replacing them are necessarily better than those two guys, but across the board, I mean, I agree. Um, the guys that you've got coming in and that you're planning to plug and play, the defense overall, like for instance, even like a DJ Terry was just a huge body that couldn't move. But all your D linemen this year are huge and have the ability to wreak havoc in the backfield. DJ Terry was never going to do that. He was a space filler.
Well,
Um,
and you have like I've made this argument. Like I thought Kip was better than Stutzman in the sense of if Kip could add on some weight, Kip was a much better linebacker than Danny Stutzman, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah, ah, it's fun. But we'll get to that in the later pods as we continue
Yeah.
to break all this apart and look at it. So, but man, thanks again for listening. We appreciate you guys so much that have been on this thing, especially those of you that have been ride or dies with us since day one. Man, we appreciate you guys. But if you're new here checking this out, please like, subscribe, leave us a review. We would really appreciate it. Would do a lot for us and help open doors for us to do more for you guys. And so we want to be able to do that. Again, it's a free pod. We don't have Patreons. We don't have subscriptions. None of that stuff. We're not giving you the for sure hires behind the scenes and then telling you that it's not happening, any of that kind of stuff. We're just guys talking Oklahoma sports, man. That's what we want to do. But the more that we can try to offer you guys in that way, we would love to do. And you do
If you
that
don't,
for us.
if you don't give us 5-star ratings, we're going to start posting cryptic tweets to a paywall.
Exactly, exactly. But man, we're having a great time doing this thing. We hope you are too. My name's Daryl. Grateful to be here. That's my brother Jared, and we will talk to you guys later.
Bye, Baker.